Acts 2:46 does not support the idea of LDS temple worship, and here's why. You claim that the disciples continued on with temple worship or temple tradition because the disciples went to the temple daily even after the resurrection. You're forgetting that the temple was the central hub, the town square of Jerusalem. It's where all of the courts were. People paid taxes. There were markets. People gathered from all over, Jew and Gentile. Everybody was allowed inside the outer court of the temple. All sorts of social gatherings happened in the outer courts. This is where Jesus preached. This is where he flipped the tables. It was like Jerusalem's Walmart 2,000 years ago. You could do everything in the outer courts of the temple. You could pay your taxes, get your groceries, get your hair done. Everyone and anybody could do or buy anything in the outer courts of the temple. It was strictly business. There were no rituals performed in the outer courts of the temple. It was the inner courts where they did rituals, which are similar to the LDS rituals of today, but only Levite priests were allowed in the inner courts. None of the disciples, not even Jesus, were Levites. Never did they enter the inner court and do the rituals there. So all Acts 2:46 is saying is that the disciples continued going to town square. They kept going to the social gatherings at Walmart or downtown, wherever it was, because this was the central hub of the city. See, if you read past verse 46, you see what they were actually doing in the temple. They were talking to people. People liked them. They had favor with them. And they were adding to the church daily people who would be saved. Continuing on to the next chapter, it said that there was a lame man. He couldn't walk since birth, and every day his friends or family would carry him to the steps of the temple to beg. He saw Peter and the other disciples preaching, and he begged from them, asking alms, asking for money. Peter said, I don't have any money, but in the name of Jesus Christ, get up and walk. And he did. And everyone saw him walking and praising God. And that was the point. That was the reason. Everyone saw this miracle that happened. And because of this miracle that they performed in the outer courts of the temple, where everyone saw, 5,000 people believed in Jesus and were saved. These 5,000 people, the beggar, they were not in the inner courts doing temple rituals. In fact, those priests and the captain of the temple, the people in charge there, the people who were in the inner courts, they hated it. They were angry that Peter and the disciples were preaching Jesus and moving people's hearts towards him. The people in the exclusive little club doing rituals hated Jesus. And Jesus' disciples were not in the inner courts doing those rituals with them. As for the rituals or the ordinances that the Levites would do inside those inner courts, Ephesians 2:14 and 15 clarifies that when Jesus Christ died, he broke down the middle wall of partition between us, the partition which was the veil of that temple, of the inner court, the veil that separated us from God. And by doing so, he abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances. We all know Matthew 5:17 says that Jesus came to fulfill the law and not abolish it. Well, he didn't destroy the law. He didn't destroy the Israelite government that was in charge of all these laws. But he did abolish the enmity that it caused between us and the spiritual oppression it put on people. He made futile these ordinances. He said, these ordinances don't have any hold on you anymore.